life is really amazing if you start watching it with deliberation, with intent. It's not possible, and I'm going to state it again, such that I'm not. There is no any form of someone thinking that would want to contradict it. It's not possible that we would find anyone who made it, whether you're in Vietnam, Hong Kong, Juba, Chisoro, you can only say you've made it according to the goals you've set. Have you heard of there is a gentleman called the Sultan of Brunei? The Sultan of Brunei is the only man we know in the world who has 5,000 cars, over 5,000 cars. But you read that he was going through a divorce. Bill Gates, with all the billions, you read that he was handling a divorce. Jeff Bezos is handling a divorce. It means even though we see these people in a picture, that they actually made it, someone is leaving them. And they are leaving for a reason. And you could find they have a genuine reason. Jeff Bezos was handling a divorce when he was the richest man on planet Earth. What didn't he have? He had plans to go to the moon. He owns Amazon. He had all the money that even if he spent 1 billion Ugandan shilling per day, he will need over 150 years to live. So why would a woman leave him? There was something missing. So the idea is, I'm not convinced that anyone would say because COVID didn't shake their account, maybe for them they do not have to repurpose. Life is multifaceted. It can't have only one angle called money. How are you doing health-wise? You could be doing well via money, but your cancer is eating away the other side. How are you doing health-wise? How are you checking your relationships with people? Are your kids growing under a dad or under a mom? Are you a good uncle? Could kids fight somewhere else that we have to go to Uncle Eddie, Uncle Newton? You get the idea. So the knowing the why of the people, but the general body of life needs help. That's why we repurpose. That's why we reshape. That's why we refocus. And Caritas made some very important points, and I want to anchor on one. He talked about needs versus wants. If you're an ardent reader of the Bible, I will interest you to Mark 11:12. Jesus was very hungry. They were from somewhere. He reached a place. He was hungry. So he saw a tree, a fig tree, full of leaves. And he told himself that if I may only find one fig to eat. I think Jesus feared ulcers, but he was hungry. So he approaches the tree full of leaves. Not a single fig. It is written, he was very upset, felt sullen. He was disappointed in a tree having so many leaves without a single fig. Because if a fig tree has very many leaves, it is putting on a show that we are ready. But it did not have. So Jesus cursed the tree and he said, may no one ever eat from you. And it dried immediately. But now for me as a financial literacy trainer, I pick money lessons. What did we have in the tree? The tree was putting on a show. At University of London we have a motto, esse quam videri. To seem, to be, rather than to seem. Esse quam videri is to be, rather than to seem. If anyone were to aim for anything, it would be better they are, rather than seeming. You remember when Caritas said that someone told her, change the car? Change the... There are things people around us put us into a condition. And that's when we need to call in our emotional intelligence. Because think about it this way. You struggle to use a border from home to the workplace. So you reach late, or it rains on you, or you reach with a lot of that. So the main problem, if we got a pen and paper and we were to write, the main problem is transport. So when we get a car, it should solve the transport problem. However, when we go to buy the car, emotions coincide on this journey. And now we do not want a car. We want something that satisfies us and how they see us. So we will get an expensive car. Now we've jumped out of solving the transport problem. In their book, What Self-Made Millionaires Know, Think, and Do, two management consultants, one is Barry O. Peterman and the other one is Richard Dobbins, they said, if there is anyone who created a human being, he must have had the greatest sense of humor. How can you create people who want to have more, be more, and do more? But then in between them, you embed things that will now fight and contradict these wants. Because people who want to have a good life by maybe buying things, on the left, they are spending a lot. People who want good relationships, they are backbiters, they stab people in the back, they do all these sorts of things. So the idea is, we need to come and be able, like Caritas said, to look at things and say, this must be a want. However, this must be a need. Let me handle the need. I'll come back to the want. Do you realize that in COVID, people actually realized that they could spend 10,000 in 2 weeks miraculously, and no one died? But initially, those homes were using 10,000 per day. Now COVID comes and everyone is like, the only money available is 10,000. Gulako ebijanjalo, gulako akawunga, gulako. Naye nga bagula bya survival. So they are solving the need. However, you will see that they have been all the time spending all the money and not think about these things. So I'll go back to the question where you said there are guys who did not even feel the pinch. They need to look at their life holistically, 360 degrees. If you've solved the money, how are you doing with the relations? How are you doing with knowledge? I could tell you, and I'm not bragging, that having done like over 4 degrees, I went back to do law. But then why would I go back to do law? Because I realize we are in the information age. We even left the information age. We are in the knowledge age. It is going to be impossible that in 5 years we sit with people and for them they say they are maybe poor because they didn't go to school. Schools are on social media. Schools are on YouTube. Schools are all over. So you need to be growing and morphing, but it comes from when you have reshaped, you've refocused, you've repurposed. In Matthew 7:14, they say narrow is the way to life, but the gate to disaster is this, the road to disaster is this huge, as in everyone sees it. This is a financial literacy program. NSSF has invested a lot, because I remember, when did we start Apollo? As in the very, very, very first year, 2019, in February, they got me here. I think I must have told the very first lot, and we had the same message. But you will be amazed. For example, if this message went online, how many people are keen to pick financial literacy tips, to listen to Carita's story, to listen to your deliberations, to listen to these deliberations. It will go to Matthew 7:14 that wide is the gate. If the announcement in this country was like, tugenda funayo anajjako top anyenyewo kyalina, fully packed, house fully packed. People need now to start picking interest in learning about money. Make friends who can talk about money.